So, something a lot of people don't think about when it comes to receiving rent and other payments from their residents is the order in which those payments are applied. Now, this is something you hope never matters, right? I mean, ideally, you're getting a full rent payment plus any utilities or late fees or anything else the tenant may owe you. Hopefully, you're getting those in full every month and ideally on time so there wouldn't be any late fees. But sometimes, believe it or not, tenants don't pay the full balance on time. And so it becomes really important, actually. It's kind of an esoteric thing, but I'm going to explain why. It becomes really important the order in which those payments are applied. So part of this is around whether you should be accepting a partial payment or not. So in a lot of states, including Ohio, if a tenant owes you, say, $1,000 in rent and $200 in utilities, and they submit an $800 payment, and you accept that payment, you've essentially told the tenant, explicitly or not, that they're good for the month. Because you've accepted it. By accepting that rent payment, you've essentially demonstrated that you're okay with that amount. That's how judges have interpreted it traditionally. So the first thing to know is if a tenant makes a partial payment, especially if it's not even the full rent amount, just don't accept it. Just give it right back to the tenant. Say, hey, unfortunately, I can't accept a partial payment. Please, get back with me when you have the full amount. Because what will happen is you actually won't be able to initiate the eviction process if you accept a partial payment. So let's say, going back to that same example, the tenant owes $1,000 of rent, $200 in utilities, and they submit a $1,000 payment. So in the tenant's mind, they're probably thinking, oh, well, I'll just catch up and pay the rest of the utility bill the next month or what have you. But if your lease explicitly states, hey, partial payments are going to be applied first to late fees, then to eviction fees, then to utility fees, and finally to rent, what the tenant has actually paid you is $200 of utilities, $800 of rent, and thus they're still short on the rent payment, and you still have that leverage over them. Again, in this situation, I would recommend you don't accept a partial payment in any case, but by having that language in the lease, you have that leverage there if you would ever need it, and the tenant would contest, the payment that they made because the following month you filed an eviction or what have you. So it's sort of an edge case scenario, but if you speak with attorneys who practice and property managers who are dealing with this every day, they will sort of express to you the importance of having language in the lease around the order in which payments are applied.